Hey, good morning. It's Pastor Jeff with your Sunday morning message. Happy Sunday morning. Um, One of the greatest tragedies in life is the prayers that go unanswered simply because they go unasked. There are things that are at our disposal. I'm not saying that God is at our disposal, but there are things that are at our disposal that we don't even bother asking for because we ask incorrectly. We ask differently, or we just think it's not for us. We're not good enough for it. We're not meant for it. Most of us don't get what we want because either we don't pray for it or we quit praying when it gets hard. We give up too easily. We give up too soon. We quit praying right before the big thing is about to happen. You see, we shouldn't seek answers in our prayers. We should seek God. If you seek answers, it's rare that you find them the way you expect to find them. You'll find them, but it won't be the way you expect them. But if you seek God, the answers will find you. If your plans aren't birthed in prayer and bathed in prayer, then you're going to have a hard time finding answers and a harder time finding God. Are your plans bigger than God? I doubt it. Are your problems bigger than God? No way. God is bigger than our problems. One of our biggest issues as humans is a small view of God. The solution to a lot of our problems is a higher view of God. You can't pray for open doors if you're not willing to accept closed doors, because one leads to the other. And one of the biggest differences between success and failure, both spiritually and in your occupation and in life itself, is quitting when it's not easy. Giving up when it's not as easy as we thought. We're not going to remember anything that came the easy way, but we'll remember everything that we worked our butts off for and went through trials and tribulations for. You see, true prayers seek the heart of God, and they're prayed as long as it takes possible, not ASAP, as soon as possible. As long as it takes, God. Mend me, mold me, make me who you would have me to be, and as long as it takes, whatever it takes, not as soon as possible. Not, God, I want to wake up tomorrow and have this all be over with and have this all be behind me. Joseph, at some point in this journey, realized that his parents' prayers had covered him each day. Side note, I'm recording this Saturday night. I should be at the races right now. We loaded up, we headed to the races. If you follow my Facebook post or if you've talked with me about it, you know the scoop. But my truck broke down on the way there. Usually it breaks down on the way home. So it's been a rough year with tow vehicles for me. So the truck gave up on me, overheating, radiator's done. Sent the girls to go try to find some stop leak because we were about an hour away from home in Stark, Florida. And so we were on the outskirts of Stark, and so the girls ran to AutoZone. So they got in the GTO, drove off. I stayed there with the two trucks and trailers and race cars on the side of the road and sent them on their way. Felt like that was the safest thing. Send them in the car. I'll wait on the side of the road. Well, they stopped at a red light about 3 blocks away from where they had left me. And while they were sitting there stopped, someone ran into the back of Nightmare, ran right in the back of it and shoved it underneath the truck in front of them. Completely crumpled the front end of the car, mangled the front end of the car, had to use a tow strap across the front end to haul it here or to drive it back home. Had to get Tara to go borrow Tom's truck and drive all the way to we made it back to Camp Blanding on our way back. before the truck just decided it was done. And so unhook the truck, hook up the trailer, haul everything home. On the way home, hit one rain shower and have a blowout on the trailer. So literally had to change a tire in the rain. And when I got in the truck after I'd finished changing the tire, it had quit raining and there was a rainbow. And so I just got in the truck. I was like, Bray, look, a rainbow. She goes, see, it's not so bad. Braylon, is bad. It's been a rough day. It's been a bad day. We didn't even make it to the racetrack. Rough day, bad day. My weekend prayers hit a little differently. When I pray on the weekends, I pray for the people who are sick or who are struggling with things. But then I kind of thank God for the opportunity to do the things that I get to do, for the people that support what we do and make it possible for us to race as a family. It's our family hobby. Excuse me. And then I pray that God will keep us safe and that we'll have the focus and the determination we need to put ourselves in a place to succeed at the racetrack. I get home frustrated, unloading stuff, pulling everything, putting everything up, get all settled in. Tara orders some food. We sit down, we're eating, and it kind of hits me. That's not the day I wanted. But everybody was safe. So I got what I prayed for. And I got what I needed. Not the way I wanted it. So Joseph, at some point in this roller coaster he's been on, has to come to a place where he realizes that his parents' prayers have covered him. So I want to read a little bit more. This is the last week. I'm going to read a lot more. We've got to get the context and see the scriptures jump and come to life and see what's going on. So it says, so Joseph, favorite kid, coat of many colors, left in the pit by his brothers, sold as a slave, works his way to the top of Potiphar's house. In Potiphar's house, he gets tried. She tries to entice him into something. He responds with a no, gets caught in the middle of a situation, lives with integrity, walks away with his integrity, but gets accused, gets thrown in jail. While he's in jail, he's put in charge of the people that are in jail. While he's there, he meets the cupbearer. The cupbearer says, hey, I got you. He interprets a couple dreams for him. Cupbearer goes to the Pharaoh and he says, hey, listen, Joseph says, all I need from you as repayment is for you to remember me when you get out. So he gets out, he goes to the Pharaoh, he forgets him for 2 years. The Pharaoh has a dream. He goes back, gets Joseph. Joseph comes, interprets the dream. That's where we land. We're in Genesis 42 now, several chapters from where we first started. It says, when Jacob learned that there was grain for sale in Egypt, he said to his sons, why do you look at one another? And he said, behold, I have heard that there is grain for sale in Egypt. Go down and buy grain for us there, that we may live and not die. So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Joseph did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with his brothers, for he feared that harm might happen to him. Thus the sons of Israel came to buy among the others who came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan, which is what Joseph had interpreted to the Pharaoh. Now Joseph was governor over the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he treated them like strangers, and he spoke roughly to them. Where do you come from? He said. They said, from the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. And Joseph remembered the dreams that he had dreamed of them. And he said to them, you are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land. They said to him, no, my lord, your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants have never been spies. Joseph's having a little bit of fun with them here because he recognizes them. And he recognizes the weight of the moment. This is the dream coming to life. And he said to them, no, it is the nakedness of the land that you have come to see. And they said, we, your servants, are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is no more. But Joseph said to them, It is as I said to you, you are spies. By this you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh you shall not go from this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you, and let him bring your brother while you remain confined, that your words may be tested whether it is true, or else by the life of Pharaoh surely you are spies. And he put them all together in custody for 3 days. On the third day Joseph said to them, Do this, and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers remain confined where you are in custody, and let the rest go and carry grain for the famine of your households. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. And then in chapter 45, then Joseph could not control himself before all those who stood by him. He cried, Make everyone go out from me. So no one stayed with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers, and he wept out loud, so that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed at his presence. So Joseph said to his brothers, Come near to me, please. And they came near, and he said, I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. That's God's way. Even for his own son, he emptied himself and took the form of a slave. Worse than a slave, Joseph became a prisoner. Jesus was executed. But like Joseph, he kept his integrity. Philippians 2:9-10 says, Therefore God has highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so that the name of Jesus every knee should bow. God works in setbacks. He is in the business of setbacks, of trials, and of tribulations, and he does his best work in the midst of them. And they are calculated. They were oh so calculated. Christmas marked the beginning of God's most successful setback. He has always delighted in showing his power through the middle of defeat. He makes tactical retreats in order to win strategic victories. In our story, Joseph has been promised power and glory as a young man. But to achieve that, he had to become a slave in Egypt. And as if that wasn't enough, he had to become worse than a slave, a prisoner. But it was all planned. It was all planned by God for his good, for the good of his family, and for the good of an entire country. For there in prison, he met Pharaoh's butler, who eventually brought him to Pharaoh, who put him over Egypt. And finally, his dream came true. His brothers bowed before him, and he saved them, as well as an entire continent, from salvation. What an unlikely route to becoming someone who rescues a nation, several nations. If we have big picture mentality, then we can start to learn and get what God is doing in our lives. Moms, dads, parents, if you were told that there was something you would have to endure, some trial, some tribulation, it would be hard and maybe even painful, but it would bring safety and maybe even prosperity to your own children, you would ask, where do I sign up? You would do it. In a heartbeat, you would do it. God did that for us through his son, Jesus. And he did it through Joseph for an entire continent. And guess what? He's still doing it through us today. There may be something you're walking through, something you're enduring that has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with your family and your loved ones. We're promised glory if we suffer with him. Romans 8:16-17 says, the Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him. The way up is always down. The way forward, many times, is a few steps back. The way to success is through divinely appointed setbacks. Life is full of setbacks, and they're from God, and they are molding you and making you better. And they will always look and feel like failures. You see, one of the leading causes of failure in the world today is mismanaged success. It's those moments where you're on top. You're doing great. Everything's going well. And you're going, look at me. Look at Jeff. Look what Jeff did. Look what Jeff's accomplished. Look what I've become great at. When we manage success that way and we steal the glory, that sets us up for failure. And one of the leading causes of failure in the world today, because that is mismanaged success, one of the leading causes of success in the world today is well-managed failure. Joseph managed every trial and made everything that the world would say was a failure turn into a success. He didn't fail in our story. Joseph didn't fail, but he would have looked like a failure to anyone who knew him. But there were a whole lot of times he pushed right through it. You have probably heard people say you can only go as far as your dreams take you. I like to think you can only go as far as your teams will take you. God surrounds you with people, and everyone has an equal amount of value in God's eyes, but not all of them bring the same amount of value to your life. Choose wisely. Some friends are in it for now. Some are in it for the good times. And some are in it just to kick you when you're down. But there are several that are there for the duration. And those are the people that are praying with you and for you in the midst of everything you're walking through. The first thing I learned from Jesus and from the life of Joseph is that Satan and sinful men mean things for evil, and God turns them around for the good. And that's how Joseph closes out this story in Genesis chapter 50. It says, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, it may be that Joseph will hate us and pay us back for all the evil that we did to him. So they sent a message to Joseph saying, your father gave this command before he died. Say to Joseph, please forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sin, because they did evil to you. And now please forgive the transgression of the servants of the God of your father. Joseph wept when they spoke to him. His brothers also came and fell down before him and said, behold, we are your servants. But Joseph said to them, do not fear, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for the good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today. So do not fear. I will provide for you and your little ones. Thus he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Yet again, Joseph is face to face with his brothers, and he realized the importance of seeking God instead of answers. It would have been real easy to say, why? Why is this happening? Why did you do this to me? Why did you guys tried to kill me. Why did you guys leave me in a pit? Why did you sell me off to slavery? Why did you never come to see if I'm all right? Why did you never check in on me? He didn't say that. He didn't ask God why. He continued to seek God and let the answers take care of themselves. I mentioned earlier that my prayers on race days are the same as on game days. When I'm preparing to race or to coach, I pray that God will give me the mental focus and the determination to give myself a chance to win. That's it. I don't pray for victories. I don't pray, God, let me win. I say, God, help me to focus. Give me the determination I need. And what happens, happens. I pray for the tools that are needed in the victory. I don't want answers easy or quick in any area of my life, because I have a tendency to mishandle the blessings that come too easily or too quickly. I tend to take credit for them. I take the credit for them, or I take them for granted. So now I pray that it will take long enough and be hard enough for God to receive all of the glory. We've got to change our prayer approach from as soon as possible to as long as it takes. In order to become the best version of you, you need to pray that God will do all that it takes, as long as it takes, to make you complete. He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. That's the verses we're talking about next week. And that's where we're going next week, because it's my birthday. And I'm going to talk about all the times that we think things aren't going our way, and God's being faithful and continuing to mold you and make you into who he created you to be. So I learned from Joseph to seek God and not answers. I learned that we get where God is leading us in life when we seek him instead of just answers. Have a great day, and God bless.